Welcome to an introduction to the biochemistry of ecstasy. The brain has billions of neurons that are connected in a vast array of synapses. These synapses allow the brain to send electrical and chemical signals in a process called neurotransmission. These signals are the language the neurons use that allow us to move our hand away from a hot stove, feel rewarded after eating chocolate, and plan for how you will tell your girlfriend that you did not clean the rabbit cages this time. A neuron will produce a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger, and transport it down its axon to an axon terminal. An electrical impulse called an action potential pushes that neurotransmitter into a synaptic cleft. It then binds to its receptor and sends a message to a receiving neuron. The neurotransmitter then deactivates and is either metabolized by an enzyme or reuptaken through a transporter. This is the end of our mission, as our neuron just went through neurotransmission. Serotonin is a monoamine neurotransmitter that is involved in mood and sleep regulation. It is also called 5-hydroxytryptamine because it is a derivation of the amino acid tryptophan. The reuptake of serotonin is done by SERT, a serotonin transporter. SERT, which is an integral membrane protein in a tertiary structure that is composed of many alpha helices, loops, and terms. Low levels of serotonin are often related with depression. This makes sense as many antidepressants work as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, increasing the amount of serotonin within a synapse. Another drug that acts as an indirect agonist to increase serotonin levels is Ecstasy, or 3,4-methylene dioxymethamphetamine, also known as MDMA. Now, what happens when we take Ecstasy? Ecstasy is an indirect agonist that blocks reuptake of serotonin by binding to a serotonin reuptake transporter, while also increasing the release of serotonin. This essentially reverses the serotonin reuptake transporter. Our system floods with serotonin, providing an intense elevation of mood. Dopamine and norepinephrine levels are also increased. When serotonin reuptake is blocked, serotonin continues to bind to its postsynaptic receptor, making us feel great. This effect does not last forever, as monoamine oxidase, an enzyme within the synaptic cleft, metabolizes serotonin. MAO is an enzyme that utilizes FAD as its cofactor. FAD binds to a cysteine residue, turning MAO into a catecholically active holoenzyme. As MAO metabolizes this serotonin in the synaptic cleft, there becomes a depletion of serotonin. This leads to bad withdrawal effects of ecstasy use, as we have decreased mood and difficulty sleeping. SERT continues to work as soon as ecstasy deactivates, but it now does not have any serotonin to transport back in the presynaptic terminal. To get around this problem, SERT will transport dopamine instead. Dopamine is another monoamine neurotransmitter and is structurally similar to serotonin and can pass through this transporter. Dopamine, or DA, is converted to hydrogen peroxide within the presynaptic neuron. This is done by MAO as well. As it turns into hydrogen peroxide, that H2O2 destroys the cells from the inside as a neurotoxic effect. The research that discovered these effects provides strong reasoning for why ecstasy was made illegal. Chronic use of ecstasy can lead to damaging effects. To avoid these, where dopamine enters the serotonin neuron and converts into hydrogen peroxide, we can use an SSRI to block the serotonin transporter so that dopamine can't enter. Another way to get around this problem of these neurotoxic effects through chronic ecstasy use is to use another type of antidepressant, an MAOI. This inhibits the enzyme MAO. That's why it's a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. So it inhibits the enzyme MAO from metabolizing serotonin. Serotonin is no longer depleted. SERT can then reuptake serotonin and not dopamine. This is how we can stop these neurotoxic effects from taking ecstasy. So if you want to take ecstasy safely, take it with an SSRI or an MAOI. And this has been the biochemistry of ecstasy and how to safely take ecstasy. Thank you.